Yeah, I'm going to. That's what I'm doing now.
Oh, I thought
Boom.
you were like, hey, look, it's there. So I'm going to talk about this repo shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had to finish what I was saying already while we were buying Nuke time to do a 6 minute turnaround on a fully functional feature on our website. So, welcome to the Meatball indicator. For those of you guys that have access to it, lucky you. For those that you don't, get fucked. But no, seriously, you'll have access probably, hopefully soon. TM. JFresh, I'm gonna pass the ball over to you, and you can explain what all of this bullshit means.
Oh yeah, we probably should have thought about this since I can't talk very
I
Yeah.
can
well.
do
But
it. I
oh,
mean,
all right, yeah,
Do
Dork.
you just jump in and correct him when he's wrong.
yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah,
I
just
like
hit me
that.
with a soundboard sound and correct.
Got
So
it.
these are basically a collection of technical signals that we're calculating, and we're using the Greeks information to sort of weight them. So yeah, there's some stuff going on under the hood that sort of tells you how these guys are positioned relative to their options chains and the price action. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So you see that they're pretty self-explanatory. You got bullish consolidation, etc. And yeah, these are just basic technical signals, but yeah, once again, we're ranking them for you as well. So you can kind of see the hottest things for the things you want to do. Right, the consolidations are cool for vol shorts, and the reversals and breakouts are cool for people who want to try to ride the coattails of that price action. And then there's the trending ones, which I mean, they're just going up or down. So yeah, it's really not complicated conceptually.
It's
Yeah, I
not, but
mean the basic.
it's a big step towards getting all of this data kind of packaged up and in one place where people can find like actual stocks in the market to look at based on their options data versus just trying to sift through one stock at a time and not having any like kind of direction. And this helps give you stuff to look into, and then you should be able to click it. That's going to pull up your Greeks, and you can kind of see what's going on there, and you can kind of sort through them and go look at their options chains and maybe make some decisions based off of that. And like ADTs, bullish breakout.
ADT's options chain is also kind of
Yeah,
creepy.
kind of slim it is, but it's
Yeah,
it's possibly
well,
picking up quite a lot of interest right now. As you can see, like gamma neutral dropped
The
off really
delta
really
neutral
hard.
tanked, yeah.
Yeah, so
yeah, and I just want to just say two very brief things. The first one is this is kind of just a complementary thing to what we've already built. And I sort of think of it as two sides of the same coin. So what we already built is if you have a stock you like to track, we can help you track it and time it. The other side of that coin is if you're looking for something to track that has a certain characteristic, you can go and look for it. And so both of those things together, provide two distinct complementary things. The second thing is that everything's at Gamma Max. We've been saying this for a while as we've been putting this together. So hopefully as time goes on, this will become more of an actual separator of things, right? Because right now you can, for example, you look for something that you might be looking for something that's bullish and you want to play it. You would go and click at them and they're all like at Gamma Max. And that would kind of tell you, okay, maybe going long on things isn't going to pay off super big here. But there could be some bear ones that, since everything's at Gamma Max, there could be some bear ones that pop out as something that you could play a reversal on, for example. But what we'd like to see is our beta users actually play with this and give us feedback on if they found something helpful or if it's all just garbage.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm hoping that a bunch of cool trade ideas come out of this, right? So, I see this on the scanner, and if it has this set up with the Greeks, then I do this thing. That's the kind of stuff that this, the type of trading style this really enhances because it's not like especially as a volatility trader you don't really care what you're trading, you only care like you don't care what stock you're trading, you care what behaviors you're trading.
And when we try to the methodology that we came up with should tell you, for these types of behaviors, bullish or bearish, these stocks are going to be the ones that display the largest signal in that area. So we're trying to filter out a bunch of noise.
VIX does look bullish.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's got a healthy bullish trend
I
going.
will say I haven't gotten a lot of chance to dig into our outputs yet, but it looks pretty good with the shortened time frames. It's definitely capturing more of the near term price action, which is exactly what I wanted to see. So awesome job, Dork.
Cool.
JFresh, well done.
Yeah, and there are parameters that we can tweak. So if everybody says, we need it to be faster responding, that tells us one thing we can tweak. Or if everybody says we need it to be less noisy, that also is important. Or if people are split down the middle, maybe we can think about a way to give multiple indicators that break that out for people who are looking for, they would rather be early and take on more risk with the noise versus people that really want, like a fat pitch that maybe they missed a lot of the run on, want to look for a little bit more of a return that's guaranteed, a smaller return, but maybe a larger guarantee.
Yeah, less
these
like
are
lower risk.
Yeah, these are all things that we can tweak, so that feedback will be really valuable to us.
Guarantee the pickle jar would rather be early lose. Well, I mean,
understand that.
there's a
Well,
lot of
there's a whole
value
list
in
of
continuations, but yeah. And a lot of the idea for this, stems from something that you guys are more familiar with, right? Which is, looking at these gamma curves. And we talk about them pretty frequently. And, what we're looking at is positioning, and price relative to the exposure in the options market, and that's how we're deriving those, the scanner. And so, it lets you really quickly look at, things that are overextended or oversold, but not in the traditional sense of how you would look at them with like RSI, but in terms of their options market and the relative interest surrounding the current price.
Yeah, so if you want to like pull up just an example, I mean, right now, because a lot of things are at gamma max, you might want to pull up like bullish consolidation, because those would be ones that have run to gamma max and then now are starting to flatten out. So those could actually be good. Those could become a bearish reversal over time. So if you pull up Zion, it's a pretty good example of something. If you want to be early and take on that risk, Zion, this would be a stock that I would never just pull up randomly from our list of tickers. But because this popped up here, I can see, okay, it's a gamma max. The last few days it's been flattening out. Gamma max is still going up, so it could turn around just like it did last, a week prior. But if it does fall, it's got a good, 10% range down to gamma neutral. So it could be a good one to look at as a potential short. And these are kind of just the ways to think about this data set.
Willie has a good question. Ever think about giving a stock options chain in general some sort of rating or score with respect to its options chain being liquid or illiquid? I mean, mostly you're talking about like a conversion of volume to OI. And that's, yeah, so like JFresh was saying, we can plug in a lot of parameters into this. It's pretty open. And that is something that we could weight things additionally by.
Yeah, that's just volume versus OI. We could add that, but
yeah. So as a chain becomes more liquid, its weighting could become stronger. And
but
yeah,
I can tell you now, it's probably going to scale something like the larger the company, the more liquid the options chain.
Yeah, most of the time, the more market cap, the more delta.
The only exception to that are meme stocks, and those will tend to show up in this list because the options are leveraged. They'll tend to be more memey, so they'll have larger moves and they'll show up in this indicator. So you can see Carvana's in there, DJT's in there. What else is a meme stock now? Ups was in here. AFRM's kind of a meme. Coin is in there. I don't see Master MSTR, which is interesting. I would have expected to see it somewhere.
I don't see
Because that's
Carvana.
one of the largest.
Which one? Which list is Carvana?
Bullish trend.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah, interesting that master's not in here. Or maybe it didn't make the top 10 on one of these lists. Maybe top 20 is more appropriate, but
Can you do a low
yeah.
risk, high risk button on the Meatball? No, because I mean, our idea is not to, these are not like, here's a trade, right? These are, here's a stock to look at that could be a trade, right? And so there is validity in keeping the signal soft, because
Yeah.
everybody's going to approach these differently, and you know what they determine is the signal that they want to look for or follow is, you know, going to be based on their own interpretation of the data. And I think leaving it that way is better, because you don't open up the possibility of, well, being wrong, for starters, which is not ideal. But also, you know, you're not unduly biasing the data in any way. Like, the goal here
Yeah, I
is
mean,
to present data in an aggregated way that's easy to read and something to look into, but not to directly signal a trade.
Yeah, this data, you know, this platform that we're building, it is not our intention to ever try to tell you how to trade or influence how you trade. It is to provide data based on how we think people like to trade.
Yeah. I mean, there's like for example, you know, you can kind of take, you know, something like what's a good one with decent liquidity? A firm, probably. You know, and this has been on the list for a little while, as, you know, slightly bearish, and it was realized, right? Like, there was a decline in price, but some people are gonna, you know, they're gonna want to come in on something like this, and they're gonna want to follow the trend and vol, right? And you know, I know a lot of you guys haven't seen a lot of the program, but you know, we have like, we track volatility on the, you know, the 10, the 30, the 60, the 90, right? And as that volatility starts to trim back, you know, and there's more and more evidence of vol shorting, right? It becomes desirable to start shorting vol alongside the broader market. And then, you know, that's something that maybe you would have thought about back here when this was, you know, more of a bearish reversal signal. Is like, you know, where is vol? Is vol falling? Is vol falling on the short time frame? Is it falling on the longer time frame? Do I want to be short vol here? And some other people are going to look at that as like, oh, realized volatility is going to pick up to the downside as this fails, because, you know, structural support on the chain maybe not very strong, right? And as support levels break down and profits are taken, the long put position becomes attractive. And so, you know, there's a lot of angles to approach this from, right? Where you can, you know, you can target specific support levels using something like a butterfly, out of the money, right? Where your upside risk is eliminated, but you're exposed to a downside move if you're correct and it falls into the price range you expect it to. And so I think leaving it open to interpretation also leaves a wider range of trades available, and all of those would have ultimately been successful in analyzing this data.
Yep. Here's a picture. You figure out what's in it.
And it's always going to be that way. I don't think we're ever going to seek to provide direct signals. It's always going to be, you know, here is the data, interpret it. And I'll say this, you know, the data is useful enough that there are interpretations which are just correct, right? And you know, you'll see things happen in options chains where you're like, that definitely means this, right? Like, a couple of weeks ago we were like watching MSTR, and you know, upside OI just exploded, right? It fell to support, and it was like, you just straddle it there, and it's either going to fail support or it's going to bounce super hard, because you know, every dollar to the upside meant like another 200 million in buy pressure. And so you know, and then the straddle there, you know, ultimately, like, if you'd had theta on it, printed out like $50 on the upside move, you know, times 100. So I mean, sometimes, you know, you don't need to pick the right position for the like aggregate positioning in the market to have its influence. It's just there and you can see it, and that might be more important than anything else. Could you add more mid caps? We're trying to. Yeah, we're working on adding liquid options chains in the R2K and R1K, but I mean, we're going to continue to try to keep the chains available on the platform platform liquid, and over time, eventually, just the entirety of the options market. But currently, because we're in beta and our infrastructure isn't that fleshed out, we're kind of just we're putting in the things that are important first.
Yeah, it's just, it's basically, yes, we can add whatever ticker you want. It is a game of, before we launched, the car was parked in the driveway and we could work on it as much as we wanted with no consequence. Now that it's running on the highway, we can still work on it, but we also have to make sure it's keeps going down the highway too. So that it's just a little slower because, adding things is a lower priority than maintaining things. But we
I-
can add them pretty simply. It just might take a few days instead of, instant.
I think
The other
something
thing I'll
I'm
say is we're already starting to see, as memes and stuff. So something will pop and people ask about it, and somehow it'll squirrel its way into our list of tickers to update. And the options chain, we were looking at one today that squirreled its way in there, and the next expiry is November OPEX, and it literally has 2 strikes with like 9 OI on each strike.
I actually don't know how that
So
stock made it in there. I think it was just
I don't
at the
either.
time we built the list, it was just way more liquid than it is now.
Maybe,
Or like
I'm not
reverse
sure,
split
but,
or something like that.
But yeah, if you find like a mid cap that has a pretty liquid chain and has a lot of activity and we don't have it, let us know and we'll put it on the list. But just remember, running these calculations for essentially now at this point, almost 3 years back in history takes a little bit of time, while we also have to run all these calculations every day for the current stock. So it's just a matter of trying to prioritize the calcs, but we want to have as many stocks as possible, especially if they have a liquid chain.
And I could kind of foresee us moving to a model where we're tracking all of the chains, and if the liquidity environment in a stock improves, we just start loading the data up for that stock as it improves. And then, if it falls below a predetermined threshold, like Delta's percentage of market cap or something, then, we cut it. And that way, we ensure that the stocks that we're looking at, the data is more valid because the chain is more active or liquid.
Yeah, honestly, going back in time, if we had to do this again, I'd probably say we should have just run everything and just not shown the ones that aren't doing much or extremely illiquid, because we can't really start and stop like that. Anyway, this is all minutia that nobody cares about. But yes, we can add mid caps that you're interested in. You just have to tell us.
Did we not
because
add
we're not
Lumen?
gonna.
I thought we did.
Lumen's in there.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, we have Lumen now. I added that one. But yeah, we have it.
Yeah, you add it, it'll get worked through in, but it might take a couple days.
Yeah. And you guys can always, for the beta guys, at least for now, you guys can always just, if there's a ticker that you really, really want to see, let us know and we'll try to, we'll look at it. And if we deem that it has sufficient liquidity, we'll load it up for you. It's not really a big problem, but like JFresh said, it just takes a couple days. Anyway.
Yeah, because like Lumen has $160 million delta on its chain. That's pretty small for even for a stock chain. So yeah, we might miss those things, but obviously, if I would call this a meme stock. But yeah, if a meme stock pops up that you weren't thinking about before, we can add it. It just will take a few days, and that can be a challenge with meme stocks and timing them. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, and I did talk about JPM earlier. I'm still short. I still have a target around 210, 205. Anyway, yeah, so play around with it. Let us know what you guys think. Obviously, I'll clip this and post it in the Pigeon Whale slash beta Discord, and that way if anybody missed it, they can see it. And I think that's it for today. So looking forward to hearing your guys' feedback on it, though.
Hell yeah.
All right, I'm tired of talking. My
Yep.
voice
I'm
hurts.
hungry.
Yeah, Sam. All right. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in. JFresh, Dork, thank you for coming on. Thank you for Meatball. Nuke, you're not here. Well done, man. That's fucking awesome. I'm so glad it's pushed forward. It's gonna be exciting. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, all we
Later.
got to do now is wrap up live data, and we can push.
Yeah,
We can launch.
we could.
All
Good
right,
shit.
see you guys.
Thanks for having us.
So yeah, guys. And if I didn't get to any of your questions today, feel free to hit me up on the Discord. I should be around for most of the rest of the day. I got a ton of stuff to dive into. And I'll have Pickles picks out tonight, as always. Thank you guys. All right. Later.